ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Now, this video has been long overdue. I actually have a video on my channel that's not released yet from about 8 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that. That's not released yet because this tank was supposed to have been released. Originally, it was actually supposed to be released in crates, according to my my sources, my schedule and stuff. So I made a video and I raged in that video. I really raged, and then Wargaming changed it to a subscription. Of course, then it didn't get released, so blah, blah, blah. The video is still there. I haven't released it, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a different one because now it has changed again. So this tank here, the Object 244, how can you get this tank? Well, it's simple. Just play the game and do missions, and then you will be able to get this tank for absolutely free. What you need is to do the missions, and you will get these tokens. You can see one token, and you need 50 tokens to be able to get this tank for free. Of course, you will be able to buy the tokens in the store if you don't get enough, but you should be able, if you play the game enough, you should be able to get this tank for free. You've got 10 days. You've got 10 days. It is already started. It started yesterday, so you've got 10 days to do 50 missions or get 50 tokens. Now, some of you may have already collected tokens from the last time. Wargaming have done tokens before, and you can use them tokens. So some people will probably just have a look because you might already be able to get the tank without even playing. So just have a look. I've had a look. Sadly, I don't even have any. So I don't have any. So I'm going to have to grind. Now, what is the tank like? Is it worth it? Well, straight off the bat, of course, it is worth it because it's free. So yes, it is worth putting the grind in. Now, what is the tank like? It's not a fantastic tank, I'm not gonna lie. It's not the best of tanks. It's like an IS. It's like a tier 6 IS. It does have decent armor for what it is. You can get the bounces, especially if you're up against tier 5s. But tier 7s, you'll probably struggle a little bit. So the turret armor, 120 standard, 120 on your hull standard. You have 2000 DPM. Yeah, about average, I suppose, and your reload is actually very, very nice. For a heavy, 5.9 seconds, so not bad at all. Your penetration is 147 on your AP, 210 on your APCR, so yeah, you might struggle against some tier 7s like the T29s, Tigers, Tiger Ps, etc. You might struggle penetrating. You've got 200 alpha, 160 on your APCR, 300 on your HE. Aim time is 4 seconds, again, not great, and the dispersion is 0.344, pretty standard. You only have 6 degrees of gun depression, and your top speed is quite nice at 43 kilometers per hour. So I mean, it's not bad for free. It's not bad for a free tank, I give you that. And it's definitely worth trying to grind these missions. I mean, you don't have to try hard. You don't have to try hard. You just have to do the missions. Whether you win or lose, just do the missions, collect 50 tokens, then the tank is yours. So we're just going to have some games. Now, both of these games, I get pretty lucky because I am top tier against tier 5s. And that is where your armor does come pretty decent. You can bounce against these tier 5s. So the penetration, as I've said, this game here in particular, and I think the next game as well, some of these shots, like, I mean, I'm not just blaming the tank, I'm blaming myself as well. But what is really nice is that reload. You know, the reload when you're using adrenaline as well, I mean, 4.9 seconds. That's not bad for a heavy. And like I said, it is like a tier 6 IS. It is like a tier 6 IS. The IS in tier 7 is quite armored. It's not the best armor. But the KV-1S, which is the tier 6 IS, really, that you grind from it, that doesn't have any armor at all. It's got load of weak points. But with this, you can actually get some bounces. Now, this SU-100Y, I get very frustrated with the SU because it's so grey, but yet I mean, come on. Come on, that's 2 shots into this guy. There's 2 shots into this guy, and I still haven't managed to freaking penetrate it. We do get a miss there. Now, I could die right now. If this Blitz 9000 would just go behind me, I'll have an SU-100Y in front and him behind. I could be dead right now, and that we could be 3 tanks down. Now, that is 3 freaking shots bounced on this SU-100Y 3 shots. Now, he's actually trying to look at my hatch there. I didn't even think he'd be able to get the shot, but he did get the shot, but luckily I did bounce that. So again, you can use the DPM is not fantastic by any means. It's not fantastic because it's got the low alpha, but the reload is pretty nice at just 4.9 seconds or 5.9 seconds. If you're not running adrenaline, you can still do damage, and you can see we've managed to bounce 900 damage so far, and we're going to get a little bit more damage. So I still need to be careful. There goes the KV-1S, and you can see we do bounce the that tank right there, and I want to go for this tank because this tank is actually very, very good. Even though it's a tier 5, I still need to be very, very careful of that guy. And you can see 1200 block damage we managed to get, which I don't think is bad for a tier 6 tank. So we're only done 1800 damage. Now, that guy there is a one-shot 250 alpha when you've got a high roll, which, again, with the reload, I don't think is bad at all. And, again, that was my fault. What a stupid shot. I managed to bounce a freaking tier 5 with no armor. And that's troll. That is very, very troll. But it is what it is. I still get a decent amount of damage for what I did. Didn't really do much. And we still managed to block 1500 damage. So you can see the armor can work on the tank. It can work. So let's just have one more game against some tier 5s, and let's see if we can again get some bounces from tier 5s. But even though we are getting bounces from tier 5s, you have to remember, like, when you are coming up against those tier 7s, you really are not going to bounce very much. So you can see there we did get one bounce and another there from the Matilda Black Prince, but you know, it's the position we're in. He's a tier 5, and to be honest, we should be able to get some bounces against these tanks. So I now want to go for that Mitsu 108. He is now a one-shot-ish, but of course we're not going to be able to take him out. We're going to average roll, and we're going to leave him on 19 hit points, which is very, very annoying. And there's the Med-J. We do get that nice shot on that Med-J there. So we still have bounced so far 530 damage, which is again, it's not bad. But don't watch these games. Don't watch both of these games and think, actually, do you know what? This tank it's got good armor. It's got good armor, because it hasn't. Once you come up against those tier 7s, you're not going to get these bounces that we're getting in this this tank. Of course, the tier 5s with the low caliber guns, you're not going to penetrate. You're not going to get bounces from those smashers or the T29s or the Tigers. You're not going to get bounces from them guys. You're going to be weak as hell. Your armor is going to be weak as hell against those guys. And again, that shot against the Matilda Black Prince, come on, that should pen. But again, you can see we can still bounce. That's 1000 block damage now. Again, it is, yes, against tier 5s. You're not going to come up against, I mean, once you've had a few games in the tank, it's going to be quite rare for you to come up against tier 5s. Most of tier 6s, you're very lucky if you come up against a tier 5. But overall, it's not a bad tank for what it is. You know, it's a free tank after all. It shouldn't be OP. You can imagine that, a free tank, a free OP tank given to everybody. Yeah, that will be shit. But we still managed to block 1000 damage, still managed to do over 2000 damage. And again, for a free tank, you should be grinding these missions, because it's nice for Wargaming to do something like this, you know, where you can earn a tank, not an OP tank. I would say it's perfectly balanced. I would say this tank is perfectly balanced for its tank, for its type and its tier, and you can get it for absolutely free. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I've got the hiccups there, sorry. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm Meadsy, and I will catch you all soon. Goodbye. With